Welcome to sixth grade. We're going to take our mask off briefly just so that we can introduce ourselves. My name is Mrs. Weingartner and I teach science and social studies this year.
And my name is Mrs. Crase and I teach math and religion.
And I'm Mrs. Reyering. I teach English and reading.
We're going to share just a few things that help make the sixth grade year work its best. Our school mission is listed. And our goals for this year: help students to further develop independence, self-discipline, and responsibility, help students create strong organization skills, and provide them with academically stimulating and personally rewarding school year. And our respect and behavior code is listed for you. And our conduct cards.
The purpose of our conduct cards is a communication tool to keep parents informed. Students have their conduct cards in their planner. Warnings are given prior to giving a mark, and these conduct cards should be reviewed and signed every Wednesday along with the Wednesday envelopes, and they need to be returned to school on Thursday. Our uniform policy. Now, right now we're wearing spirit wear, but when we do move to the uniform policy, we do expect you to follow these guidelines. Consequences for things. Positive incentives are utilized to motivate our students. We try to give some rewards each trimester for 0 marks on the conduct card. If a student receives 5 behavior marks or 5 missing assignments, this will result in a detention.
Under technology, please be sure that you are familiar with PLUS portals to access your student grades, but you need Google Classroom to access all assignments. That's different from previous. Homework will be posted on Google Classroom only under announcements. And the students have been issued Chromebooks to take home. They need to make sure that they're fully charged before they bring them back every morning. Students will be monitored by GoGuardian software so that we will see where they are with their work on the computer. Oh, homework. Students will learn to effectively use class time to minimize time spent on written homework in the evenings. We expect that they'd spend 1 to 1.5 hours on homework each night. It should be a combination of written work, study time, AR reading, practicing math skills, and an effective use of time will help avoid cram sessions for tests and quizzes. Homework should be done with thought and effort. It should be completed before they come to school in the morning. They're not allowed to do homework during morning homeroom. Students are responsible for keeping their binders and their folders in order with all their class materials.
If a student is absent this year, we are asking that you check the Google Classroom for their absent work. Because of our current health condition, we will not be having homework buddies this year. If materials need to be picked up, if you could kindly send us an email and we will make sure the books or notebooks are sent down to the office. And because of the current health conditions, there's going to be guidelines that will be sent home regarding extended absence, and those will be school-wide policies. Upon returning, we want to keep the student learning going, so we want to make sure that we are scheduling time to make up any tests or quizzes. And of course, we're always here to give that extra help. And if you could kindly send in a note upon your child's return to school. Communication, please send us an email. We will be happy to respond within 24 hours. General reminders, a homeschool envelope will be going home on Wednesday. Even though we're posting on Google Classroom, please use the student planner. Birthday treats, we all love birthdays here, but unfortunately we cannot be sharing, especially birthday treats this year. Textbooks will be online and you can follow the link on PLUS portals. And just make sure that your child has an extra clean mask in their backpack, and we would appreciate if you would take those dirty ones out at the end of the day when they return home, and please bring in a clean filled water bottle each day with them at school. I'm going to jump right into my math. I have my email right up here, and I'll share some of my expectations for math this year. The goals I have listed there for you. Basically, I want to make sure that the kids are engaged in the math instructions, making connections between the real worlds, developing critical thinking skills, developing a strong foundations to take them into this year and beyond. And because of the way our classrooms are going to be set up, I am going to be focusing on differentiating within my classroom to meet the kids at the different levels that they are at with math. The resources are listed on here for you. The math textbooks will be coming online, and I'm going to be using a variety of online resources. The assignments, I have these listed, and in the following slides, I'll give you details of the assignments. Classwork, we start each day with our target for learning. I give the guided notes, practice examples. Students keep models of the math concepts within their notebook, and I will be doing online extension activities with the students. Math daily homework, yes, daily homework Monday through Thursday will be given to reinforce skills presented in my lesson. I usually stop a few minutes early for the kids to get started on the assignments and ask questions. All my homework this year is going to be posted on the Google Classroom underneath announcements. And please, the students should keep current with their assignments, especially when they're absent. They don't want to get too far behind. Skills review, we'll be doing a daily math review, and this is basically recycling math skills that they have had in the past, because if we don't see it and we don't review it, we lose it. This also helps with standardized test practice. Assessments, I like to give a lot of quick checks throughout the week. These are frequent, they're formative, so that I can make sure that the students are understanding the math concepts. Quizzes, I usually give them mid-chapter, and all tests will be announced on Google Classroom. Weekly challenge, this is going to be my extra credit that I give each week. I'm going to post a problem-solving activity on Monday, and I'm going to ask that they print the paper copy and bring that back into school. Of course, if we would have to go online, I would have them submit that online. The concepts, it's going to be a busy year this year. We start with decimals, all four operations, number and algebraic expressions, solving variable equations with one step, variables, inequalities, factors and multiples, fractions, decimals, and percents, fractions, all operations, integers, ratios, proportions, percents, measurement, and geometry. Our new textbook is very heavily pre-algebra based, so the second half of each chapter will focus on the pre-algebra skills. For my religion, my other favorite subject that I teach, let me share some information with you. My goal for religion is to focus on these main items. What do we believe as Catholics? How do we worship? How do Catholics live, and how do we pray? I'm excited to be alongside your child this year to help them grow spiritually and intellectually in this area of religious studies. Our resources, we have a textbook. They have a journal that we're going to use when we study theology of the body, a notebook, and a Bible. Our concepts, I have them listed. We mostly focus on the Old Testament this year, exploring the books of the Bible, relating it to the New Testament, and understand how it is a complete foreshadowing of the New Testament. We also talk about the Mass, and everything that we do in the Mass is biblically based, so we'll be sharing that with the students. Theology of the body, understanding who we are, why God created us, and our purpose, and how we can love one another, and that each one of us is called to be in communion with one another for, yes, that eternal life, getting everybody to heaven this year. Assessments, projects, and tests, and of course, will be announced on Google Classroom.
Okay, my turn. Welcome to sixth grade reading and ELA. I just want to start off with reading. Some of the skills that I will be focusing on are especially reading informational text. This is something that the students have more difficulty with. I'm going to be looking at their reading comprehension and trying to prepare them for standardized testing, which mostly focuses on informational text and asking questions about that. They will be doing independent reading, accelerated reader, and they will be getting some credit for doing that. However, it's not going to be graded like it has been in the past. More information will come through after about that. As far as curriculum goes, we will be reading novels, short stories, and poetry. The novels that we'll be concentrating on is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which is my favorite to teach. I'll also be teaching Wonder to a couple of the reading classes and Slacker to another reading class. We also will be reading lots of short stories. Right now we are looking at personal narratives, and we also will be looking at poetry. The short stories will not be available online in a textbook. My textbooks are not online. So if I assign a short story, then I will actually download it to Google Classroom. As far as vocabulary workshop goes, I think the students were a little bit surprised by their new book and how dense it is, but this is a book that will be following them through high school. So they are at the A level in 6th grade. They will be expected to complete all of the units by the end of the school year. Some classes will work at a faster pace than other classes. However, I will be assigning units each week, and they will be tested on Fridays on those units. They will need to know the definitions and be able to identify synonyms, antonyms, and also be able to put them in sentences. As far as English language arts goes, we have a lot of things going on there. The main focus for English and language arts is writing. We have to write 4 major pieces, a narrative, which we're actually working on right now. We're going to be doing a personal narrative. Later on, the kids will also be writing their own little short story. We will also be doing an explanatory paper, which is like a how-to paper, where the students will explain to us something that they are able to do, and a persuasive piece as well. Also, throughout the year, and usually around seasons and holidays, we will be writing a lot of poetry as well. Daily, I will be looking at specific skills like, for instance, Greek and Latin roots. We're going to be working on this. Will be very helpful for them in vocabulary and in standardized testing to be able to break down the roots, prefixes, and suffixes of Greek and Latin language. We'll be working on conventions and on grammar as usual, especially when we're writing. I will be giving weekly spelling tests. These are based on the 202 most misspelled words in the English language. The students get a pre-test on Mondays, and if they are able to pass the pre-test with a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, they do not need to take the test again on Friday. However, if they do not pass with those scores, they retake the test on Friday, and that will be their score in the grade book. Also, I'll be dealing with parts of speech. We'll be learning a song, and hopefully that they will remember it, but we'll also be working on sentence diagramming, which I find quite effective with students learning the parts of speech. And believe it or not, they tend to like to do the sentence diagram. I just have a couple things I need to say about Google Classroom, because this is very different from how it has been set up in the past. First of all, daily homework will be posted with the date it is due. That is what they should be looking for, a date and then the daily homework after it. Oftentimes the students might have to go into a packet or a reading that I've posted under assignments to find that work. But that does not mean that everything that is on Google is something that they have to do right away. It's only indicated by looking on the dates posted. I'm going to show you an example of this. This is my Google Classroom from the last day or so. First of all, at the top, you'll see that I have a recording. This recording is some instruction for the students about how to work in Google Slides and just some general information, because they'll be working in Google Slides a lot with me and on Google Classroom a lot too. Down here is their assignment, and if you'll see that I do have the date listed that the assignment is due. Once they hit this URL and listen to what the assignment is, they will find out that they have to go into this narrative packet at the bottom of the page here and find the pages from that packet that they have to do. That's all for me. I'm going to go on to Mrs. Weingartner.
All right. Last up to talk about is 6th grade science. Some concepts that we're going to cover this year would be graphing and variables, technology and engineering, earth resources, studying the earth, soil, rocks, cells and living things, classification of animals and plants, energy and motion, and different states of matter. Our daily routine usually consists of reading materials, some guided notes, lab report, lab work, and in-class projects or presentations. Students will be expected to keep an organized binder with all of their materials and the handouts that I give to them in class. Students will also keep a science notebook that will have some detailed notes and information that we are going to use. They will need this to study for tests and quizzes. The notebook will also be collected to check for content accuracy and completeness, and it will count for points towards their grade. Lab routine, I love to spend a lot of time in the science lab. Lab reports are generally given electronically over Google Classroom. They will count for assessment points. It's the same thing as having a test grade. The procedures in the lab will follow distance seating and safe sanitized protocols. Students will be responsible for following directions, procedures, material cleanup, and completion of their lab reports. They will be given participation points each time we are in the lab. Homework and grading. Homework is given. It should be completed in its entirety and turned in on time. Missing work is going to result in a mark on the card. Homework is not given on weekends, with the exception of makeup work that might need to be finished due to illness or whatever. All homework is going to be posted on Google Classroom under announcements. Grades are based on a point value system depending on the assignment, which could include things such as tests, quizzes, lab reports, lesson reviews, classwork, other content work, and grades will be posted on portals. Extra credit will not be given. Social studies for 6th grade will cover concepts with, we're beginning with geography skills, maps, globes, graphs, timelines, charts, and tables, working with things like imports, exports, natural resources, supply and demand, and incomes with developing countries. We're going to travel to places such as Mesopotamia, Egypt, which is my favorite, India, China, and other areas of the Eastern Hemisphere. We will study their culture, people, economics, trade, farming, the alphabets, governments for each of these civilizations. Our daily routine is going to consist of lecture, whole group discussion, reading materials, and completion of guided notes. All the notes will be given on Google Classroom and will be corrected in class together. Additional study guides will not be given out to students. We will highlight and review guided notes to prepare for tests and quizzes. Students will need to be responsible and have their notes corrected with accurate information as we go over this in class. Students will be expected to keep an organized binder as well with all of their materials and handouts that I give out in class. This doubles up as the science binder. Homework and grading. Homework is going to be given and again should be completed in its entirety, turned in on time. Again, homework's not given on the weekends with the exception of having some makeup work that might need to be finished. Homework, you can see, will again be posted on Google Classroom for social studies. Grades, same way, work with a point value system. An extra credit is not going to be given. Some general classroom information, if you would please refer to our helpful hints handout that we emailed prior to the beginning of school. It contains some general expectations for your child's school year regarding supplies, homework, technology, communication, and when your child is absent from school and the procedures to follow. So I'm looking forward to a wonderful year where your child will be challenged to think and act like a scientist and to understand how history and civilizations have shaped our world. I have included my contact information. Please do not hesitate to contact me with any questions.
Thank you so much, and we're looking forward to a great year.
Thank you.